In what was being billed as a must-win game for Eric Ten Hag and Manchester United at Old Trafford yesterday, we got soundly beaten 3-0 by Spurs at Old Trafford in what could arguably be one of the worst performances I've seen in a long time from Manchester United. And now we have to look at the good, the bad and the awful. Starting with the good, and I can promise you this won't take long. I think the only good thing to come from that game was Andre Onana. He made some decent saves. In particular, he made one incredible double save. And only for him, we probably could have lost that game 6 or 7-0. That's it. On to the bad. I think first, the red card that Bruno Fernandes got in the first half. I know a lot of people are kind of trying to make out that changed the game, and Ten Hag tried to maintain that the red card kind of changed the course of the game, but it didn't. But look, it was never a red card. We've seen in the replays, he slips. Yes, he sticks out a leg to try and stop him making that run, but it wasn't a dangerous tackle. It was reckless more than, well, it wasn't even reckless. It was just petulant, really. He was slipping and Maddison was getting away from him and he stuck out a leg to stop him gaining an advantage. So it was a booking, but I'm surprised the VAR didn't look at it. Well, obviously they did look at it, but I'm surprised that they didn't get the referee to go over to the monitor and have a second look. Like, how they thought the on-field decision should stand, I don't know. In terms of everything else for the bad, like two or more our most consistent players over the past few weeks. Mazraoui had, by his standards, a poor game. Granted, the entire team were poor, but I was surprised that Mazraoui was as poor as he was. And on to the awful. I mean, that first half performance was so bad. Like, it was just absolutely shocking to see. There was no urgency from the players. There was no fight, no desire to even try and win the game. That's what it looked like to me. Like, every pass was either under hit, it was over hit, it was misplaced, it was straight to a Spurs defender. There was no desire to track the man back. There was no desire to get back into position when we were caught high up the pitch. Like, even that first goal, for example, was just such a poor goal to concede. Like, how their centre half picked up the ball inside their third and literally ran the length of the pitch to more or less the byline and squared it to Brendan Johnson, who was completely unmarked at the back post. Like, Diogo Dalot was absolutely shocking for that goal. In one of the replays, you could see he was running alongside Brendan Johnson to the edge of the box, and then he just stopped running, left him running 2 yards out, tapped the ball into an empty net, and immediately puts his hand up to apologise. I was like, that's not good enough. You need to track the man the whole way back. You can't half-arse this defending. Like, to quote Gary Neville, it's Manchester United. You're at Old Trafford. You're playing Spurs, who are arguably one of a very, very beatable team. The way that they played, that high line, but we didn't even try and exploit it at all. They just looked completely bereft of ideas, and I know we're seeing it this morning. We saw a bit of it last night, and it looked social media and certain certain other content creators are like saying Ten Hag, this is the last straw for Ten Hag. He has to go after this performance. But this isn't all on Ten Hag. Those 11 players that went out there need to take a long, hard look at themselves. Like, how you can go out on a pitch at Old Trafford playing for Manchester United and just not perform. I kind of touched on it last night, and I don't want this to be the case, but it seemed like the players have just given up. We saw it under Louis van Gaal, we saw it under Jose Mourinho, and we saw it under Oli. Towards the end of their tenure as Manchester United manager, the players just gave up, stopped trying, and they just stopped playing for the manager. And that's what the last 2 games have looked like. This one more so. Spurs has just been, it's an absolute shit show. But it's absolutely disgraceful. If that is the case, I hope it's not. I hope it's just something else. I don't know. They just looked so lethargic. They didn't even want to try and run. I just hope it's not the case that they're just throwing another manager under the bus. Granted, yes, there's a lot of them are his players, but the likes of Rashford is still there, Bruno is still there. Like, something needs to change. Like the next 2 games now, we're away to Porto in the Europa League on Thursday, and then we're away to Villa next Sunday. Like, there are 2 games now. I said it last night in the live watch along. Those 2 games are going to define Ten Hag's tenure as manager. Lose those 2 games and he's probably gone. I hope that doesn't happen. I don't want to see that happen. I don't see how we can blame all of this on solely on Ten Hag. Yes, he has to take some of the blame for it. Like, you could argue that maybe the players didn't know what they were doing when they went out on the pitch. Maybe the instructions weren't that clear from Ten Hag. But there's other coaches and staff there as well that can communicate the message to the players. Van Nistelrooy, Rene Hake, like, they're communicating what Ten Hag wants to implement on the pitch. So it's not as if they're only listening to Ten Hag. Surely Van Nistelrooy has a say in it as well. So it's not solely on the Ten Hag and the coaching staff. Like, most of this performance is down to the players. They were just absolutely shocking, and like I said it after the first half, if I could change all 11 players, I would have at halftime. Like, there were just no fight at all. And look, unfortunately, and the manager's going to pay the price. Unfortunately, there's two massive games coming up. They're more must win now than the Spurs one was, and if we don't win them, then unfortunately you could see Ten Hag going. I hope it's not the case, because who do we bring in? If Ten Hag goes, whether it's next week, 2 weeks time, 3 weeks time, 6 weeks time, whenever it is, if it's Christmas, who do we bring in? Who's out there available that can improve this team at the moment? And there's no point saying, oh, anyone will do. They won't. Like, Southgate is not an option. He is not going to improve this team. It could get worse. So I think the club have to be very careful. Yes, I know a lot of fans are calling for Ten Hag to go, but what's the alternative? Van Nistelrooy is still part of that setup. So if they get rid of Ten Hag and give it to Van Nistelrooy, surely it's the same tactics, it's the same setup. What's going to change there? If they're changing the manager, you could argue they need to change everything. But who's out there? For me, I don't see anyone out there at the moment. And not to forget that Ineos over the summer went and talked to half a dozen, if not a dozen, other managers, and decided after talking to all of them, Ten Hag is the best man. And now all of a sudden he's not, and they have to go back and go to one of these people that said weren't good enough and say, oh, do you want the job now? So I think we need to be careful. It's very easy to say, yeah, look, get rid of Ten Hag, it's not working. But for me anyway, I hope he doesn't get the sack yet. I think he's still shown enough the start of this season in how United have played. Yes, the results haven't been there, and football is a results business at the moment, unfortunately. But the improvements have been there over last season. Yes, they haven't been perfect. We haven't played. We haven't been perfect. We haven't improved everything, but we've made incremental improvements. We're creating more chances. Yes, we're not taking our chances, but we're creating more chances. We're still losing games, but we're conceding less shots. Spurs game aside, because that was the most amount of shots we've conceded this season, more than any game, and probably more than a lot of games last season as well. But there is improvements there. I just hope Ten Hag can turn it around, because he's shown that, for me anyway, he's shown that he can make it better and he can get us back winning. I don't know. I honestly don't know where we go from here. It's just, I don't know where he goes, because those same 11 players are probably going to take the pitch on Thursday night in the Europa League. And are they suddenly going to start trying? I don't know. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks now, because Ten Hag is under massive pressure. Granted, most of it's from the media and the online fan base. I think a lot of the fans in the stadium last night looked like they were getting behind the team. They were singing most of the way through that second half and trying to get behind them. Yes, a lot of fans left as well, but a lot of that Stretford end were singing right the way through the second half, trying to get behind the team, trying to get him going. But look, it's going to be tricky. But look, we have Porto away in the Europa League on Thursday, and then we have Villa away Sunday. I'm going to, for me sins, I'm going to be doing a watch along for both the games, so hopefully you can join me for them. And yeah, I'll be putting out another video later explaining the details of the giveaway for hitting 100 subscribers. So stay tuned for that. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thanks again for everyone for subscribing. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is Ten Hag on borrowed time? Should he be gone? Who do we get in if he does go? And what were your thoughts on the match last night? Because it was an absolute shambles. But yeah, take it easy, and we'll catch you later.